What's up, NBA fan? What's up, all sports fans? This your boy JB, host of the Behind the Bench podcast network and channel. Just want to give a shout out to the rest of the crew. I'm talking about Shy, Kelvin, and Jermaine. And for everyone who's tuning in, I hope that you support Behind the Bench, become a subscriber, and help make this show the best that it can be. Now, this is going to be a dandy right here. And I've been trying to wait until I really delve into this subject when it comes to what is considered an NBA super team or a traditional championship based team. And there's been constant back and forth about whether or not super teams have always existed because there's been a lot of criticism about the recent super teams that we have witnessed, particularly since 2010, right? So I've been trying to think, what's the main difference? Because I never believed that super teams existed back then. Because number one, whatever team became a champion or had a long-standing run or would be proven to be a dynasty, well, those teams ran or excelled on average for a period of 7 to 8 years. Whereas the super team that we've seen in recent time, they may roll for 4 years tops. And to tell you the truth, they start to break down by year 3, to tell you the truth. So I was thinking, I said, what's the biggest difference between the two? Right? And it hit me, man. It hit me like a thunderbolt. It hit me, it hit me, it hit me. And I got to share it. The biggest difference is whoever is considered the number 3 player on the team or the third best scorer. This is for like championship teams versus super teams. Well, on the super team, whoever that number 3 guy is, their game takes a major hit. But whoever's the number 3 guy on the traditional championship based team, their game does not take a hit. And actually, their game is elevated. But on the super team, their game becomes devalued. Let me give you a perfect example. They'll say the Showtime Lakers of the 80s were a super team. But if you really look at their teams and their roster and their statistical production, it shows that they were not a super team. And here's why. Because, of course, you had Magic Johnson at point guard. He was the leader of the team, right? He was the best player on the team during the second half of their championship run. From like 85 through 88, right? Then you had Kareem Abdul-Jabbar. We all know who Kareem was and what he accomplished. But the number 3 guy was James Worthy. Well, Magic made Worthy, and Worthy was great. Big game James, he always stepped his game up in big games. But throughout the course of the 82-game season, Magic Johnson, he made James Worthy better. And James Worthy would always say it. And when I say better, I'm referring to the scoring average, right? Now, remember when Magic retired in 91, that impacted Worthy's game where he didn't score as he once was able to do. And not only that, then his shooting percentage was impacted by that also. And this is not taking anything away from James Worthy. Like I said, James Worthy, first ballot Hall of Famer, big game James. I believe he had the quickest first step in the history of the NBA. But in terms of his point per game production, he was a career 17 point per game scorer. But playing alongside Magic Johnson, it made him better. But on a super team, your production goes down. You become devalued and it disrupts the natural dynamic of a team, right? It makes the number 3 guy look bad than what their talent really should be able to show, improve on the court. That's the biggest difference between the super team and the true championship laden team. The number 3 guy. The number 3 guy. Like I said, Boston Celtics, Bird, McHale, Parrish. Parrish was considered the 3rd best player on the team. His game was never devalued or was negatively impacted by playing with Larry Bird. Never. Never. There's other instances where championship teams had what would be considered a big 3. But if you a superstar and you join forces with 2 other superstars, when I mean superstar, I'm talking about franchise level players. Players that you have attempted to build a team around at some point in their career. If you take on the number 3 role, your game is bound and will definitely take a hit. It don't matter who you are. And it throws the chemistry off balance. Now, you're going to win games because you're top heavy. And that's another thing. True championship teams that are built from the ground up, they're not associated with being top heavy. Right? You may have a Kareem, a Magic and Worthy, or Magic, Worthy, and Kareem, but you still have Byron Scott. You still have AC Green to round out that starting 5. You still have a Dennis Johnson. You still have a Danny Ainge to round out that starting 5. Right? Same thing with the bad boy Pistons. Right? But a top-heavy super team, you see a significant drop in scoring with everybody else on the roster for the most part. Whereas a true championship team, there's more balance. Look at Denver Nuggets starting 5. Just about everybody on their starting 5 average double figures. That don't mean that you're a super team. That means you are balanced. Jokic, Murray, Porter, Aaron Gordon, Kentavious Caldwell-Pope, if I'm not mistaken, they all averaged double figures last year, which was a major reason why they went on to win the championship. It was because of their balance. But a super team that's top heavy, it takes that away. And you always need something. You always have to, accelerate the degree of change on your roster, right? But you look at a team like the Denver Nuggets, they're not changing their starting 5. And if they are making changes, they're bringing in new guys through the draft. Oh, man, it's huge. But they don't talk about it to this degree like they should when it comes to the pundits and the talking heads. But when you break it down, the biggest difference is that number 3 guy, whoever that is, that's a superstar on the super team, his game is going to take a hit. He's going to become devalued. But on a true championship-laden team, the number 3 guy, along with everybody else, their game is elevated. And it creates more of a balanced attack on offense. And your chemistry is better. And your roles are defined better. See, there's layers to it. There's layers to it like a domino effect. So, just to talk about this is very exciting for me because I had to truly identify what's the difference, but I had to wait to come up with the answer to express that, in video. So, in closing, that's the difference between the two. And that's why those true championship teams, they're more memorable, as the years go by, So, man, that's awesome, man. But I just wanted to share that. And until next time, this is JB for BTB Behind the Bench.